What's going on, guys? We finally completed the sump. For those who watch my videos know that I've been manually topping off and dosing this tank for the past 2.5 years. In the last sump update, we've installed the Comor doser with its dosing containers, and in this video we're going to be installing the ATO with the reservoir. I'm probably going to be installing it in the right hand corner there. So for an ATO, I've decided to go with the Neptune Systems, the ATK. I don't have any type of aquarium controller, so this unit's going to be set up as a standalone unit. Now for the reservoir, I picked up this Trigger Systems Ruby reservoir. Excellent construction. For those of you who have Trigger System sumps, you know these things are well built. Has an access top here with the little loophole there to route your wiring and tubing. Also your laser in gallon markings so you can know how much water is evaporating daily. The reservoir is going to match the sump perfectly, and then I'm keeping the concept. It's just keeping everything within the cabinet, but at the same time making it look nice and neat. So installation was fairly simple. I couldn't quite fit the reservoir there behind the dual reactors, but here to the side it looks good. On top of that is easier access for me to replenish it. Now if you notice, the bracket that holds the optical sensors with the magnet, I have installed that towards the back portion there of the sump. That way I still keep a nice clean front view of the sump. The pump was installed and the tubing routed there through the back portion of the reactors. Nice little handle here to access the reservoir. Big enough space for removing the pump or cleaning. Now the ATO comes with a fitting that has a siphon break, and they recommend you to install it in the event that water level in your sump is lower than in your reservoir, which in this case it would be if I fill it up all the way up to the 5 gallons. So I just went ahead and installed it. Let me go ahead and show you guys the fitting here. So you can take a look, that little pinhole there, that would be the siphon break. Now I did modify the ATO a little bit. Let me go ahead and show you guys here. If you guys can see, I did go ahead. One of the things I did was remove the float valve, which would be the third line of defense in case the 2 optical sensors were to fail. I think with the 2 optical sensors, in my opinion, should be enough. On top of that, my sump stays fairly clean. And then of course, I'm also gonna be checking those periodically to make sure those sensors are clean. Another thing I did was reroute those black wires. They usually come wired towards the front where that white fitting is. I took the unit apart and rerouted them towards the back part. Went ahead and installed the FMM unit there in the top right hand corner. Did all my wire management, so everything looks nice and neat. There's the ATO in action. That's the siphon break I was mentioning to you guys earlier. Then on this end, the water replenishing the sump area. Oh, there's the sump finally completed with the ATO and the dosing pump. By the size of the chado, you can see that this is a later clip. Really happy with both products. Now the ATO, I've been trying it out for about a month now, and I have no complaints about it. I'm really happy with it. Now I've heard reviews of people saying it's crap when you use it as a standalone unit, but I've really had no issues at all with it. I'm really happy with the unit. It's been working and doing what it's supposed to do. Now talking a little bit about the refugium area. I've got to go in there and trim it out. I usually trim it out approximately about every 2 weeks. As you can see, it's gotten massive. It's already matted up to the surface of the water. Now I know a lot of people like refugiums, not just for the nutrient export, but also because we have the availability of creating a natural food source for our fishes in our main display tank, as far as the copepods, amphipods, and that beneficial bacteria that helps our tanks. Now the reason why I'm mentioning this is because I wanted to show you guys something interesting. A lot of people think that by having the refugium all the microfauna produced in the refugium area would only just stay there. That it would be impossible to it to go through sponges or pumps and into our main display tank, that the microfauna would be killed before it gets to our main display tank. But that's not the truth, guys. A lot of this microfauna makes it to our main display tanks. There's so much and so many of them. Yeah, some are gonna get stuck in the sponges, some are gonna get killed by our pumps, but a lot of it makes it to our display tank. I just wanted to show you guys. Take a look here. You can see these are all copepods in the last chamber where the pump, where the return pump is. You can see all of them lived in this section. So somehow they've made it from the refugium into this last chamber, and where eventually most of them or some of them get pumped back into the main display and serve as a natural food source, and hopefully some of those reproducing in the main display tank as well. I had a viewer ask me why not establish the refugium in the return pump section area. And I can understand the reasoning behind that is because he's thinking about the microfauna, giving it more of a chance to making it to the main display tank. But I wouldn't recommend a refugium at the end, because keep in mind the refugium, the water does need some type of contact time with the refugium area, and on top of that, it might end up clogging your pumps or a lot of algae growing on all your equipment in that last chamber. I have seen refugiums in the first chamber where the skimmer is, or in the middle section how I have it. But yeah guys, just wanted to share that interesting clip there, so you guys can see that once you have a good, well-established refugium, I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of those things, and eventually some of those will make it into your main display. Now there is one last thing I forgot to mention you guys with the installation of the ATO. I went ahead and purchased an additional optical sensor, and I'm taking advantage of that extra port that the FMM module brings, and I've installed it here just in case my drains ever get clogged and the level here of water rises. It would automatically shut down the ATO, because water here will rapidly drop, making the ATO think that the sump needs water. That way I avoid a whole bunch of fresh water being dumped into the tank and potentially affecting my salinity, and also a potential overflow. Now I know this ATO has some type of memory mechanism, but I don't really want to rely on that. I'm currently running a full siphon to keep my system dead silent, and that's where usually the water level stays at. Now it did clog on me once. No major spills or anything, just the only thing that happened was that the water level in this area rose, and then my return pump was running dry. But that's the reason why I've installed this optical sensor here, to protect the ATO from dumping a whole bunch of fresh water, thinking that it needs to top it off, and potentially saving me in case this ever clogs again, potentially saving me from an overflow, or it affecting the salinity in the tank. Now for precaution, at least once or twice a month, what I started doing is opening both of my gate valves on my drains fully open, so water can just drain through and clean out the pipes in case there is any type of buildup, to prevent the drains from clogging up. Alright guys, that's all for this video. Really thank you guys for watching. Hit that like and subscribe, and as always, don't forget to keep reefing simple. I'll see you guys in the next one.